A girl was given a tickling punishment after losing a stage show. What happened next? Watch the video till the end to find out. In the small yet luxurious town of Silver Leaf in the US state of Montana, the most famous and mysterious event was the Golden Mask competition. This year's strongest contender was Emily Rose. Emily came from a very ordinary family, and winning this competition was a matter of life and death for her, as it was the only way to pay for her sick mother's treatment. Behind the glittering lights of the stage, a dark truth was hidden. The show's host, Mr. Julian, was known for his cruelty. He announced that anyone who lost round 3 would not be physically harmed, but would instead be sent to the feather chamber, a transparent glass box where the loser would be tickled until they confessed the real reason for their failure. Emily began her performance. She was an exceptional opera singer. Her voice filled the hall with magic, but then her eyes fell on her mother sitting in front of her, whose condition was worsening. Overcome by fear and anxiety, Emily's voice trembled and slipped off key. A wicked smile appeared on Julian's face. He shouted loudly, "Emily Rose, you have lost. Now it's time for your punishment." Emily was taken inside the glass box, in front of the audience. Her shoes were removed, and her hands were tied above her head. Julian pressed a remote, and small robotic brushes and soft feathers inside the box began moving across Emily's solace and ribs. At first, Emily tried hard to suppress her laughter. Her face turned red, but slowly, her laughter burst out. She started laughing uncontrollably. The scene looked entertaining, but for Emily, it was nothing less than an intense and thrilling torture. Julian shouted, "Emily, tell us, why did you lose your pitch? Were you scared? Or are you simply not worthy?" Emily was helpless under the tickling punishment. She was rolling with laughter, tears streaming from her eyes. Suddenly, while laughing, she screamed, "I didn't lose my pitch on purpose. Julian, I know you tampered with my mother's medicines so that I would lose today." The entire hall fell silent. Julian's face turned pale. Emily's laughter turned into an angry scream. The punishment had pushed her so far that all her fear vanished. She continued, "You thought this punishment would break me, but this laughter has given me the strength to speak the truth." At that moment, the police entered the hall. Emily's friend had secretly found evidence from Julian's cabin proving that he had been fixing the show. Emily was taken out of the box. Exhausted, she collapsed on the floor, her breathing still rapid. Her mother ran onto the stage and hugged her tightly. The audience stood up and applauded Emily instead of the terrifying Julian. Julian was handcuffed. Even though Emily had technically lost the show, she had won the hearts of the city. A major music producer signed her on the spot, ensuring full treatment for her mother. That night was forever remembered. In Silver Leaf's history, the night when a girl's laughter brought down a criminal empire. After Julian's arrest, it seemed like everything was finally over. But Emily had no idea that the real thrill was just beginning. As she was walking down the stage with her mother, a black envelope fell near her feet. Written on it were the words, "The game isn't over yet, Emily. The real punishment is about to begin." Emily and her mother were placed in the city's most secure hotel. It was around 2 a.m. Emily was asleep when she suddenly felt that familiar sensation on her feet, the same silky, feather-like tickling. She jolted awake, but the room was empty. Suddenly, the TV turned on by itself. A video started playing. It wasn't Julian, but a masked woman. She said, "Emily, Julian was just a pawn. The golden mask you wanted to win isn't a trophy, it's a key. And that key is now with you. Because during your punishment, you confessed a truth no one else knew." At the end of the video, an address appeared to an old mansion hidden deep within Montana's dense forest. Emily was called there alone. For her mother's safety, she agreed to go. When she reached the mansion, the sight stunned her. Dozens of masked people were seated in the hall. The same chair from the stage punishment stood there again. The masked woman stepped forward and removed her mask. She was the mayor of the city. Smiling, the mayor said, "Emily, the rule of our secret society is this: anyone who can endure laughing torture for more than 5 minutes is worthy of leading us. Your laughter has given us a new leader." Emily trembled with rage and shouted, "I don't want your power. You endangered my mother's life, humiliated me publicly, and you call this a test." The mayor pulled aside a curtain. Behind it sat Emily's father, whom Emily had believed died years ago in an accident. Tears streamed down Emily's face as she ran and hugged him. Crying, her father said, "My child, I had to disappear to protect you from this swamp, but your talent pulled you here on its own." Now Emily stood at a crossroads. Either she could become the ruler of this secret society and dominate the world, or she could take her father and escape, destroying everything. The tension escalated when the police surrounded the mansion. Emily used her intelligence. She entered the control room and released laughing gas. Instantly, the masked people began laughing uncontrollably, dropping their weapons. Emily escaped safely with her parents. She erased all traces of the mansion and the dark organization. A few months later, Emily performed at a famous concert hall in New York. This time, there was no fear and no punishment. When she finished singing, the hall erupted in applause. She looked at her mother and father sitting in the front row and said into the mic, "Sometimes, laughter isn't a weakness, it's the strongest weapon. It just depends on whether you're laughing or making the world dance." Emily Rose was no longer just an opera singer, she was the guardian of a secret the world would never understand. After the concert, Emily returned to her hotel suite. On her bed lay a small silver box. When she opened it, soft music played the same tune from the Golden Mask competition. Inside was a note. "Emily, you destroyed the mansion, but the poison injected into your veins during the punishment is still alive." Suddenly, Emily felt a strange tingling throughout her body, as if thousands of invisible feathers were crawling over her skin. She collapsed on the floor, laughing uncontrollably, even though no one was there. She realized that the needle used during the laughing torture wasn't just part of a scientific experiment, it was a neurotrigger. The door burst open. Her father stood there, but the warmth in his eyes was gone. He held the remote. Coldly, he said, "Emily, what did you think? That I was trapped? No. I am the mastermind behind the entire organization. I needed a perfect weapon, one that could force anyone to reveal secrets or even die laughing. And that weapon is you." Emily couldn't stop laughing, but her mind raced. She realized her father had faked his death for years, just to turn her into a spy and a weapon. Laughing, she screamed, "You played with my emotions. You used my mother." Her father pressed the remote, activating nanochips embedded in Emily's souls. The tickling intensified so violently that Emily felt she might suffocate. At the peak of the tension between deathly laughter and betrayal by her own blood, Emily refused to give up. She used her opera training and released a high-pitched note. The frequency was so intense that glass objects and windows shattered. The electronic remote short-circuited. As the remote broke, Emily's laughter stopped. Weak but determined, she lunged at her father, grabbed the remote, and saw a self-destruct code that could permanently deactivate the neurotrigger. Her father tried to stop her, crying, "Emily, I did all this to make our family rich and powerful." Emily looked at him with a heavy heart and said, "I didn't want wealth. I wanted the father who sang me lullabies. Today, you killed that father too." She entered the code. A powerful shock ran through her body, and she lost consciousness. When Emily opened her eyes, she was by a quiet lake in Montana. Her mother sat beside her. The police had internationally blacklisted her father and the entire organization. But the story didn't end there. When Emily looked at her wrist, a small tattoo had appeared, a smiling mask. She realized that even though the chips were gone, she was still part of that mysterious world. She smiled softly at the calm lake. Her laughter now carried no pain, only a warning. The next morning, every TV channel in America reported that an unknown opera singer had exposed the world's largest corruption network. Emily would no longer hide. She would hunt those who traded in the laughter of the innocent, right before the world's eyes. Before the video ends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.